In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
how will I ever do this on my own?
She thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. I'm Rosa and I'm here with Larisa.
That's right. My name's Larisa Crawley and I am the owner and professional cookie artist for Crawley Creative Confections.
You have created some beautiful things.
Thank you.
How long have you been making cookies?
Well, we've actually been making cookies for a couple years. I'm a professional artist by trade. I have my college degree in interior design. So I've always been interested in colors and textures, and coming up with amazing art has just been a part of my life. And so a couple years ago, myself, my husband, and my sister-in-law decided that we were going to do cookies for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And so we did. We thought that we were doing a great job. We just went and looked at a lot of pictures, and I think we wound up making like 10 to 20 dozen for Christmas and then giving them away. And every year,
kind of like cookie exchange.
No, it was just giving them to just making them for family.
That was your Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Nice.
We like to make stuff for Christmas, so that Christmas we decided that we were going to bake, and then the next Christmas came along, and we thought, well, everybody loved the cookies so much that let's make more cookies, and we did. And everybody just kept complimenting us about how great the cookies tasted, how great that they looked, that they hadn't seen anything like that before. And they were asking us where we purchased the cookies. Oh. And we were like, well, we made them. And then one day my sister-in-law had an extra ticket to do a cookie decorating class. And she had the extra ticket, and I was like, okay, sure, let's go do that. I love doing crafts. I love learning. So we went, and I got hooked. Yeah. And it's kind of fell into place ever since. We started professionally selling in February
of 2020
of 2021.
Really? Just this year?
Just this year. And that's how the sugar cookie portion started.
Okay.
So we also sell macarons.
That's how I met you.
That's how you met me, yeah. The macarons were actually my husband's passion project.
Oh, okay.
So 2 years ago, I had ankle surgery and I couldn't get out of bed. And we discovered the Great British Bake Off.
Yes.
And we watched everything. We're big foodies. We love trying different food. And he was watching it, and they made macarons one day, and he was like, they keep saying that this is really hard to make macarons. And I was like, well, yeah, like I've never made them from scratch. I don't do a lot of scratch baking. I do a lot of scratch cooking, but baking is a different animal.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he was like, I'm going to learn how to make those. And I was like, well, you're going to learn how to make them by yourself, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
And gosh darn it, if he didn't just take it and run with it. And then he would see another dish on TV and be like, I think I'm going to make that, and decide how to make it. And now he is like, I tell him he's my favorite restaurant, because he makes phenomenal food, not just baking, but he makes, from scratch, biscuits and gravy. He makes ratatouille. He makes beef stroganoff. Beef bourguignon from Julia Child. He decided he wanted to make her recipe, and he's absolutely amazing. And so when we started these macarons, that was his baby that he had. Yeah. And again, we were giving them away to people, and they said that they had never had anything like that they've tried macarons from Europe where they originated, and they didn't taste anything like his. And that's how the idea for doing macarons and the sugar cookies together got started. He does all the baking, and me and my sister-in-law do all of the decorating. I do all the graphic design for our business, because we also do edible images that we can print on icing sheets and on wafer paper. So I do graphic design for that. And I handle all the social media and customer service, because that's all things that I get lost in doing and love to do. So
yeah, and I did invite him to come talk about his passionate cooking, but he did not want to do that.
He did not. I am the talkative one out of the bunch.
Larisa was like, I can brag on him real hard.
He never likes to brag on himself, but he's absolutely amazing. And he had a job change a couple of years ago, and we really did discuss like him going to culinary school. Like, was that something he wanted to do? And from the get-go, he was like, no, I only ever want to cook for myself what I want and for who I want. He's like, I don't think that I would ever be happy doing that for someone else. And this is something that we all enjoy. We kind of have a schedule throughout the week that we try to adhere to, because we all work full time. Oh, wow. So outside,
he works a full-time job and you work a full-time job separately.
Yes. Wow. And my sister-in-law works full-time outside of that. Gosh. So we all have separate, like, 40-hour-a-week jobs. Man. And this is all on the side, and we still haven't killed each other yet. So
it's a miracle.
It must be meant to be. We love it. My absolute favorite thing is when someone contacts me and I ask them what the theme is, and then they tell me, and I can just run wild with inspiration. My favorite theme that we have done so far, it was amazing, was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air baby shower.
What?
Yes. She contacted me about it, and she was like, hey, I have this idea for a baby shower. I want, I saw your cookies. I want to see if you can do this. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking, baby shower is usually like Winnie the Pooh and like all these cutesy things. And she's like, I want to do Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I was 100% in from that moment. I was like, I don't care what your budget is at this point. We are doing these cookies. Like,
what does that even look like for a baby shower, though?
Oh my goodness, they were so adorable. We did onesies that had, oh my gosh. We had onesies that had quotes on it. We had, from the show, we had cookies that had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air logo. Okay. I actually took a picture of a baby and did like kind of like the same graffiti style. And put that on a cookie. Okay. Let's see, we did boom boxes. Oh, we did, I'm trying to think of all the different designs we did, because that one, I felt like we just went all out on that one. I think on the onesie it had chilling out, maxin', relaxin', all cool on it. And then we had one that we did like a Will Smith graphic on with all of the graffiti and stuff in the background. Nice. What was it? It's the quote about the playground where he's on the playground.
Where he's like playing basketball.
Something like that. Yeah. And it's been a while since we did that one. That was like probably one of our first big orders.
Are there pictures on your page of this? We'll have to look later. We will have to look at these. And I was actually just watching a YouTube video about how revolutionary the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was.
It was.
As a sitcom. Yeah. It was so serious, and it took topics seriously and fostered good discussions, but it was also like fashionably like a huge turning point. And so that's really cool, because like now 90s is vintage.
I know. What happened?
How old are we?
What happened?
I was a child, and that's vintage now. I don't understand.
I know. like all of like the Lisa Frank stickers.
Oh,
and
I'm all about it.
Well,
Bring it
about
back.
it.
I want more of it. I missed it. It's just
the caboodles, all of it.
That's what I did for Christmas presents for my girls.
Was caboodles?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I got everybody a caboodle because I saw them at Target. I was like, oh,
yeah.
I know what we're doing for Christmas, you guys. And I like filled it up with like makeup samples and socks and smell goods and whatever. And
oh man,
yeah, it was fun.
I love all of that. I think that it's absolutely incredible. And like going off of like the 90s theme, my husband's favorite Disney movie of all time is a Goofy movie.
Really?
Yeah.
A Goofy movie.
A Goofy movie. Yeah. That is his favorite. And so we just celebrated our 15-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
So how old are we? Like we got married when I was a teenage bride. I was 19. But
I was 18 and it's been 14 years.
Yeah. So hey, you're right.
We're like almost twinsies.
I know.
By like a year in both directions.
I know.
This is so wacky.
One of the things that we did this year, we had never gone on a vacation since our honeymoon. So we went on a vacay up to Sagatuck, Michigan, which I totally recommend. Foodie wise too. Ooh. Incredible. But I was ordering like I hadn't even got a bathing suit in like so many years. And so I was ordering stuff online and I saw these shirts that were a Goofy movie t-shirts. And I had to get them.
Yeah,
so
he needed that.
He needed that. I needed one.
Yeah.
And now when we wear them, people that are in our generation, it is like a turning point movie. Because when you're growing up, you side with Max being like, come on, Dad, why don't you just take him to the concert? And then when you're an adult and you have kids, you're like, come on, Max, like, why don't you just want to spend some time with your dad? Like...
Oh, that's a good point.
It is such a turning point movie. Like I didn't realize that until people kept commenting on our shirts when they would see us out, and they would be like, "Oh man, like remember that? Like remember when you used, like you wanted, Goofy to take Max to the concert?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, but everybody our age now, that the ones that are having kids, like they see this whole like they change their whole mindset based on that. It's just, I would love to do a Goofy movie. Cookies, by the way. Okay. So if anybody wants to do a Goofy movie
place
cookies,
your order today.
Yes.
She is ready.
I am ready.
She's
would
like
love it.
5 years ready now.
Yes. let me do those cookies for you.
That's so fun. So I thought you had started during the we are still during the pandemic, as much as we wanted to feel like it was over for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you chose to do this without you guys like losing a job and having to like get creative with it, and you just added it in.
We did. It came about. Josh was still finishing up school in February. He graduated in May, and
not from culinary school.
No, not from culinary school. He actually got his degree. Plug here for my actual job as I'm an administrator at MedQuest College. And he went to their medical equipment repair tech program. It's a 2-year program.
Completely different.
Yeah, he worked in computer tech for 15 plus years. So he decided that he still wanted to do repair, but not in the computer industry, that he wanted to get into healthcare. And so that was kind of the gateway. And so he went.
Anybody who wants in healthcare, come on in.
Exactly.
Just saying. As a nurse, I welcome you.
Well,
all hands on deck.
Yeah, and he loves it because it gives repair work to him another meaning. Because if the medical equipment doesn't work at a medical facility, that's a huge part of their care plan.
Yeah, it is. So it doesn't matter how big or small that piece of equipment is. All of it matters, and it's time sensitive. And,
and he loves being a part of that. And so I think that that's incredible. My sister-in-law is an occupational therapist.
Oh, the one who cooks with you? Or the one who decorates with you?
Yes. She is an occupational therapist, and we have a son that has sensory processing disability. So it's really great because she gets to see her nephew all the time. He's 8, and we get to just hang out, decorate cookies. We usually listen to a podcast or a movie or, and just hang out and have a good time. And she was already spending time with us anyway. Yeah. So then we started doing this, and it was just something that we fell into loving to do.
Okay, so you decided to make it into an official business in February of this year in 2021. And what do you wish you had known before going into making it an official business?
That is a fabulous question. So I have actually started several businesses in the past, and none of them ever panned out. They're never failures, just learning experiences. And I think what made this one so different was having support. Like, not just being the only person doing it, that I got my husband doing it, I got my sister-in-law doing it, and
sounds like he was going to do something with it without you. He was just making cookies. You had to put them somewhere.
I was like, we need to make money doing this. Like, these are too good. But I guess the main thing that I attribute to the success of the business so far, and the, starting out a brand new business, is really be focused on how do you want to serve others, and how do you feel about that? What does that look like for you? Because I am a very enthusiastic person. I'm a very positive person. That doesn't always translate into luxurious items or expensive things, and I learned early on that cookies are a luxury item because it's not something that you have to survive. I mean, they make your life sweeter, so you obviously want to have them in your life, but it was something that I thought, I want to provide the best cookie experience that I can. And trying to think about that from being a customer to other people that have small businesses, and translating that into how do I want to show up in my business for my customers. And I really try to treat each of my customers like if they were my best friend and I was making cookies for them.
Well, that's how I felt when you were making those macarons. And we were talking about, we were like brainstorming flavors and stuff.
Yeah. And wouldn't you want to get cookies from your best friend? Like,
I mean, ideally, but I guess you would have to be my best friend, because, like, what you were saying also kind of resonated with me in that it's a luxury item. So if I'm saving 200 calories for a cookie, that better be worth those 200 calories. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like, what did I just eat? I'm not bulimic, but also I wanted those calories to count.
Exactly. So
thank you for making delicious things that we can say, okay, that was worth it.
It totally is. It totally is. We have done our own kind of market research around the area, not as much for sugar cookies as much as the macarons, just because there are places in Louisville that you can get macarons. And I will have to say, out of the hundreds of dollars that we have spent on other people's macarons, I still prefer ours. I mean, I know I'm biased, but I really feel like we have the best taste, the best crunch on the actual cookie, and the best fillings. Like, when I think about having an amazing food experience, I want it to smell good. I want it to look good. I want it to just like melt in my mouth.
Girl, yes.
I know. Like, you just want this whole, like, talking about the luxurious experience, you want that, like, what is it, like herbal essences moment? Like, where
you shake your hair out and you're like, oh, I'm in a tropical forest and I'm taking a shower in a waterfall.
Exactly. Like, but that's like what you want when you're really feeling like you're treating yourself to something. And so that's what we do for every single flavor that we come up with, is how can we make this taste amazing, look amazing, and smell amazing? The smell factor for me is huge. Like, I have tried lots of macarons that anytime we get macarons from any place, we literally will buy every flavor that they have.
Wow.
Because we want to taste every single one.
It's not about filling up on one flavor.
No.
It's
really about like,
what do you use as a palate cleanser?
Well, my personal preference is Diet Coke. That's just me.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, because if you're tasting so many things one right after another, I feel like that's a needed.
You do have to, you do wait like a little bit of time to kind of let it get out of your mouth. But we don't ever, like, we're not sitting there just, like, shoving macarons in our mouth. We're usually, like, we cut them up and divide them out, and then we all talk about them. It's, like, a very, like, market research kind of thing.
Like wine tasting.
Yeah.
We're going to smell it. Yeah. This is wafting such and such, right?
Exactly.
Well, one thing I wonder, if you said people from Europe have said this is not like any macaron we've ever had, would you say that yours are the least European of any in the city? But, like, you've tasted all these others, so would you say those are more reminiscent of the European ideal standard? Or
I think that ours are the European standard on steroids is what I would say.
Without asking for, like, your secret recipe or whatever, is there an explanation for that?
I think, honestly, it comes down to the bake of the cookie, because 100% when you talk about macarons, people are talking about the feet. So the feet of the macaron are, like, the bottom part that's not the shell.
Yeah.
And they always want you to have, like, these, like, little feet that stick out. We actually most restaurants use the Swiss method of meringue, which is different, which is you actually have to heat the meringue, and there's a big opportunity there to actually get eggs, like having scrambled eggs versus having a meringue. And we use the French method, which does not include heating the actual meringue or the macaronage and all that. Like, we don't heat it. It won't get heated until it actually gets into the oven.
Okay.
So we bake ours, and I feel like that gives it a much better, like, crunch, but then the inside is still soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important, because when I have gotten store-bought ones, not from any of these specialty stores where that's their specialty, but like at Costco or whatever.
Exactly.
I was like, these are so hard, and, like, why do people want this? I don't understand. And that was when I was having an experience like, I am wasting calories. I don't even want to swallow this. I just want to pretend like this didn't happen.
Exactly.
And so, but then I went to a restaurant outside of Kentucky, and had some at, I'm just going to tell you, it's 1894 Lodge. And those things collapsed in my mouth.
Yes.
Like they belonged there. And it was amazing.
That's
and I was like,
awesome.
I'm a fan of these now.
Yes.
And so when I was, we had this idea, which we should probably talk about. This is how we met.
Yeah.
I had this idea. I wanted firecrackers flavored or themed for the 4th of July.
Yep.
And so I wanted Pop Rocks in the middle. Yes. And I really didn't care about the flavor of the cookie parts, because I was like, can you make this explode in my mouth? Can it collapse and then explode? Yes. Because I need that contrast, right? And so I found a picture of a red, white, and blue one. And it had, like, little edible shiny stars on it, and you totally replicated the look of that for me when I bought the practice.
Yeah, we did once
we did a flavor profile practice round of what would work with red, what would work with blue, and you're getting what, vanilla Pop Rocks is what it was.
No,
right?
actually, like, we got the filling that we do for the firecrackers are now, it's a vanilla marshmallow. Like, that's the filling or the cream, and then the inside we taste tested all different types of Pop Rocks. We do use the trademark Pop Rocks brand because we've tried off brands and they don't pop like Pop Rocks do. So we searched those out, and it comes to find out that, like, the watermelon and the blue raspberry for us and what we want to use them for have the best flavor inside of that vanilla marshmallow filling. And so, because we tried, like, the grape, strawberry, cherry, and so many of them we couldn't taste the difference between. And it kind of goes back to that whole, like, smell factor. I smell our macarons. Like, if I can't smell that filling and tell you the difference between 4 macarons that are in front of me, if I can't pick it up and smell it, I don't want it. Like, for me, I'm like, it's got to smell good. You got to get that experience before it even gets into your mouth. And the places that we've tried that claim that macarons are something that's their specialty around the area. We haven't tried them all, so please don't be offended, anybody. But we have not tried them all.
You're obviously not above buying them and trying them yourself, so she might actually be your best customer, really. I mean, let's be real.
But
she's like, I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'm gonna keep testing these. I'll be back. Let me get out my little microscope and figure out what ingredients you're using. But the ones that we've tasted, like, I could not for the life of me tell you what the flavor was before I even bit into it.
Yeah.
And that just for whatever reason just super disappointed me. Now, I'd never had macarons before my husband made them.
Okay.
And if I would have tasted these other ones that we've gone out and bought from other places, including Costco, I don't think I would have liked them. Like, I think that my whole taste palette for that would have been totally defeated.
Because he set the standard for
you. Yes, absolutely. And anyone that I mean, of course, our family love them. We take them to our jobs. We take them everywhere where we don't like having the macarons in the house because we're going to eat them. So we try to give them away as much as we can.
Yeah.
And, when they're not a part of an order. So you never know. When you come to my house to pick up food, you may wind up with extra sugar cookies. You may wind up with extra macarons. Like, you never know what you're going to want. You never know what little goodies you're going to wind up with because... depending on what we're making that week, we try to let everybody taste it because it's something amazing that we think everybody should have a chance to taste.
So when you think of other people who can learn from this, you've talked about how it was important for you that you are doing this with other people. So it's not all a one-woman show.
Correct.
Or a one-man show in the case of your excellent baker husband.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to start their own business?
Honestly, I would seek out first thing I would do would be to seek out Facebook groups that are similar, have different associations. If there's a state association for whatever you're interested in, to get into that group. And to, even if you don't participate, I know I didn't participate in a lot of like bakers groups that I began in several months ago.
Just lurking.
I was just like peeking, like, oh, what's everybody else doing? You know, but you pick up so much from that. And I constantly
like message boards, right?
Yeah. Like I constantly get inspired by other people's work. And I love having a community that when I do have something to say, that they are a good sounding board because they're in the same business as you are. So
they care about the topic with or without you.
Exactly.
It's not about you, it's about the topic.
Exactly. Yeah. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is I found a podcast that directly catered to what I was doing plus marketing. I am not a marketing major. I don't claim to be. I do claim to have a little bit of design sense. But I want
that eye for beauty.
Yeah. I want things to look a certain way, but I didn't know anything about marketing or how to do ads or all of that. And so I found this podcast that I found from a group because they started talking about this podcast. I was like, oh, now I got to listen to this.
Can you say the name of it? Are we being anonymous?
No, it's Sugar Cookie Marketing.
Oh, specific. That is
very specific.
That is so niche. Wow.
Yeah, it's the Sugar Cookie Marketing, and it's called Bake It Down, but it's all together in the title. It's like a ridiculously long title for a podcast, but they are phenomenal. They're two sisters, they're twins that run this podcast and a group.
Oh, how cute.
They are adorable. And they have amazing advice, but one of them is a baker and does sugar cookie baking, but they both work full-time in marketing. And so it's interesting to listen to them because when it all comes down to it, it's a business and you want to make money. And a lot of people are scared to be like, I want to make money in my business. I want to make money in my business. And so I want to listen from other people that is what they're driving at and how are they successful in this. And so I would say those two things 100%. Find a Facebook group or an online group that is directly related to what you want to do and are with other professionals that do it. So like I'm a part of We are Kentucky bakers. And so they talk about Kentucky regulations about baking and home cottage laws and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's important. So I see stuff and I'm like, oh yeah. But then you also get connections, like somebody saying that they can't make, 5 dozen cookies this weekend. Is anybody in Louisville to make these cookies?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that networking.
Yeah.
Mutually supportive.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. So that would be my biggest advice. And then if I could say anything about how to start marketing, do a Google My Business. Google My Business. It's 100% free. It is from Google, and you can literally just open up your Google.
So that your business exists online.
Exactly. And it will go through Google, and it will create you your own landing page. So you get a free website page where people can find you. People can look you up by just saying bakeries near me, and they will be able to find us. To me, that is a great way to diversify how you market. I primarily do most of my social media through Facebook because I'm old apparently. And I didn't know I had to get
groups.
Yeah, I didn't know I had to get like an Instagram and all that. My sister-in-law, who's 7 years younger than me, is like, you have to have an Insta. And I'm like, I don't know what an Insta is.
Also, how am I supposed to tag you when I take pictures of your food on Instagram if you're not on there for me to tag you?
So when we started the business, I had everything, I had Facebook down, but I didn't know anything about Instagram. So then I got on that. And then from the podcast is where I heard about Google My Business, and I was like, oh man, I don't know how many other small business owners I have told about it that have never used it, never thought about it, and were able to go in, get a free landing page, get their information out there, and you can be searched by other people in the area and get, it's basically free advertising.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I would say that was like the most valuable free tool. And all those really are free. Going on to Facebook, listening to podcasts. Those are all free.
Yeah. Well, and then if they want to find you on there, what did they Google again?
So if they want to find me, it's Crawley Creative Confections. I know it's a very long name, but it's Crawley, Crawley, Creative Confections. And so we are in Louisville and proud of it. We service not only Louisville, but around the area as well. So
Kentuckiana.
Yeah. We get a lot of customers from, Mount Washington and Shelbyville. So we love being a part of the Louisville foodie community and making sure that we're able to support other small businesses too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So follow her on Facebook and Instagram and maybe even Google her business.
Yeah. Google My Business. Yeah. And if you ever message me, you are getting me directly.
Yes. It's not going to be her husband.
No, it's not going to be him.
If he's anything like my husband, he'd be like, you have to hold up the phone to show him he has a message and then read it to him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're going to get me 100%, and it's not through some other person. You're going to get me directly, and I can't wait to be your new cookie best friend.
Oh, maybe you'll have to taste test with her. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.